Hey guys, what's going on? Adam from Atomolsonfitness. I'm here today with Amy back fit, and there she is. We're going to go over some biceps and triceps for you guys. This one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do some cueing, so it's kind of going to be a little bit more informative in terms of the mindset and what you guys should be thinking about, and form, and how your body should be positioned, and all the stuff that you should be kind of going through as you're going through each set and each rep, in order to kind of, one, maximize what you're trying to get out of this, and two, in order to like not waste your time. So we're going to do a little bit of a warm-up. I'm just going to kind of count Amy through some warm-ups. We did a warm-up the other day where we were doing some hard contractions for our biceps and triceps. The purpose of that is really, one, to start to focus internally instead of externally about everything else that's going on, and really kind of concentrate on what you're trying to do today. And also it minimizes the amount of times you have to do warm-up sets. So instead of like sitting there doing like 5s and 10s and 15s all the way up until you get to your working weight, if we can really prime the muscles by putting some good contractions in there and some good intention into them, it really minimizes the amount of time that you have to warm up, and it also spares your joints of having to load bear over and over and over and over again, however many sets and reps, all the way up until the time you get to your warm-up or your working weights. So Amy's going to start with her hands all the way down. We're going to bring the fingers all the way back. The reason for this is I want to stretch everything to its furthest range of motion. And then we're going to curl the fingertips all the way in. We're going to roll into those wrists, get a good contraction, squeeze up. And here you should be starting to contract as hard as you can. I want you to imagine you have a tennis ball in between this space, and if you're trying to crush it, or whatever, a piece of fruit, someone's head, whatever, but you should be squeezing as hard as you can. Try to contract that bicep. And then we're going to unfurl the fingers, start to stretch out, and then pull down with your triceps. Your mind should really be pulling the arm down from this. That's the sole purpose of the tricep, is to really create that extension. Then we're going to roll back up into the fingers, contract the forearm, squeeze hard, come all the way up, squeeze, contract as hard as you can. Think about crushing that apple or that baseball or whatever you want in between the space here, and give yourself some really good tension, almost to the point where you're shaking. And we're going to unfurl the fingers and pull down from the triceps. Get a lot of squeeze right there into that tricep. Hold that. Give it a 10 out of 10 squeeze. So you want to be as hard as you possibly can. Put your brain into that muscle. All right. The more you practice this, the better you'll be able to contract and connect to the muscle. We're going to roll back up into the forearm. Squeeze as hard as you can. Crush that softball, watermelon, baseball, your spouse's head, whatever. And then we're going to unfurl the fingers and all the way back. Squeeze as hard as you can and hold, all right? And really try to keep those shoulders back and set, all right? And one more time, up and back. So we're going to roll up into the forearm, squeeze as hard as you can, crush that baseball, hold. You should be like really starting to shake. Everything should be starting to warm up now. And then we're going to unfurl the fingers, pull back from the tricep, get really deep into this, and then squeeze as hard as you can. Things should be starting to get really warm. If you want to do a couple more reps of these on your own, take your time and do that. And you should be starting to get those muscles really primed and ready to go. So we're going to go right into a simultaneous bicep curl. The bicep curl, the form, there's some nuances here, and I want to talk about that. But for the sake of time, we're going to do things bilateral, meaning we're going to have two weights, or a weight in each hand, and we're going to be curling at the same time. Now, ideally, in terms of physics, a perfect straight line to the ground. This looks like it's straight to the floor, or at least for my anatomy right now, but it's actually not. Straight would actually be this. So if you can see the line that would go straight down to the ground, technically speaking, me curling like this is better for my joints and better for my musculature, because it creates more of a perfect line. And then we could go into a whole thing about moment arm and why this is important. But for the sake of time, we're going to go a little less than optimal, and we're going to go simultaneous bicep curls. So Amy's going to get some weights she's going to work with today, and we're going to do about 12 reps. All right, we're going to do like 3 to 4 sets of this, so you guys can do this along with us at home. So first thing is Amy's going to set her shoulders back. So this is called an external rotation, when you're actually pulling your shoulders back into position and locking them down. All right, so if you have a hard time really kind of connecting, we're going to think about bringing your shoulders up to your ears, pulling them back together and allowing them to sit down along your spine in the back. You should almost feel like your lats get tight. Elbows are locked into your side, and Amy's going to curl up, and we're going to come up, nice and controlled, down slow, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to engage our tricep at the bottom and curl up. This is number 2. Down nice and controlled. 4, 3, 2. Tricep engages and up. Number 3. And down slow. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage and up. Curl. Squeeze hard. Put your mind in there. 4, 3, 2, 1. And up. Number 5. Good squeeze and control. Down. 4, 3, 2, 1. And up. Squeeze. Good. And down slow. 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring it up. Good. Number 8. 4, 3, 2, 1. Up. 9. Down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Up. 10. Down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Up. 11. 4, 3, 2, 1. And 12. 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. All right, I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds to rest. If the weight isn't challenging enough, whatever the rep range is, if it's 12, if it's 10, if it's 8, you want to be using a weight that challenges you in that rep range, okay? There's a thing called RPE, which means rate of perceived exertion. Rate of perceived exertion basically is speaking towards how you perceive the amount of exertion you're putting out. So, for example, the way the scale works is if you're at 10 out of 10, that means that you don't have any more reps left, okay? So if I do my last one and I just can't lift the weight anymore, that was a 10 out of 10. So if I did 8 and I can't lift it again, I hit 10 out of 10 on my 8th rep. Usually when we're working here and for hypertrophy and for strength, you usually want to kind of operate around an 8. Basically meaning that you have 2 reps left, 2 what they call RIR, reps in reserve. So when I get to my 8th rep, I think, maybe I could eke out 2 more reps, but I think that's probably all I got left in the tank. Then that's your 8, and that's what you are going to work at for that day. Now, on another day, you might come in, you might feel really good, feel really strong, and that same weight isn't challenging you the same way. So you're going to scale up, maybe do 5 pounds heavier, and then your 8 out of 10 will be 35 pounds as opposed to 30, or 15 as opposed to 10. So hopefully that makes sense. Amy's going to get into her second set now. I'm going to have her face that way so you guys can actually see her arm and what's going on. Her shoulders are set back and she's locked down. And she's going to curl up and up, down slow. 4, 3, 2, tricep at the bottom and up. 2, 4, 3, 2, 1 and up. 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, up. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1 and go. 4, 3, 2, 1 and up. Good. Keep those elbows back around. 4, 3, 2, 1 and up. Down slow. 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up. 2, 2, 3, 4. Up. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. Up. 5, 2, 3, 4 and up. 6, 2, 3, 4. All right. So a couple things, guys. Some of you guys, as you start to struggle, you're going to notice that you might start trying to lift the weight, and your elbow is going to gravitate forward, away from your body. It's going to start to come up, and you see this a lot in gyms, like commercial gyms, or people that aren't educating anyone in fitness. You're going to see people start to move their arms this way. Now, what's happening is you're starting to 1, use momentum, and 2, you're starting to take that load, and the more it goes forward, the more that load dumps onto the front delt, and now your front deltoid is starting to assist the bicep, which is not what we want. We want the bicep to be doing as much work as possible. So if you could imagine someone poured a bunch of concrete on you, and the only thing that's exposed is your elbow, the only thing that can move is this. So whatever you got left from here to here is it. That elbow should be drilled to your side and cannot move. It is locked in stone, and you're down. 4, 3, 2, 1. That tricep engages. That is your mental cue to tell you now, I'm ready to go. My bicep is fully elongated because my tricep engaged, and I'm ready to curl again. All right, Amy's going to get into our 3rd set right now. And from the side, Amy's nice and straight, spine is straight, head is straight, shoulders are back, externally rotated, elbows are locked to the side, and we're going to curl up and down. 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 4, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1, 8, one more, 3, 2, 1, 9, 3, 2, you notice I'm giving her about a 4 count on the way down. The reason that is like the ideal for hypertrophy, for building muscle mass, is a 4-second eccentric phase. So that's the lowering of the weight. So if you were doing a different exercise like a split squat or a squat, and you're coming down 4, 3, 2, 1, this is the eccentric, this is the concentric. So when you're doing a concentric movement, that would be bringing the arm up, lowering 4, 3, 2, 1. All of the damage to the muscle is done on the lowering or the controlling of the weight. And that allows you to basically break the muscle fibers down so that they can rebuild and you can have a bigger, stronger muscle. So that's what's going on here with Amy for these particular movements. We're doing 4 seconds. Now, if you have a different specificity and you're like maybe focused more on explosiveness or speed or strength, you can maybe go a little bit faster. You could have a 2-second eccentric where it'd be like 1, 2, up, 1, 2, up, 1, 2, up. So it all depends on what your purpose is. So for whatever your specificity is, what your focus is for your training, it's going to change how you think about what it is you're trying to do, how much time you take for rest in between sets, what type of weights you're going to be working with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we can take that on ad infinitum forever. So we're going to do one more set here, and then we're going to move on to another exercise. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave us comments or anything below. Message us directly, and I can maybe answer them for you after this video. So, now we're going to face forward on this one. Shoulders are back. Everything's nice and tight. Now, Amy's got her hands like right here at her side. I personally like to have my hands a little outside of my body. Some of that might have to do with your hip width. So we're going to just go with what Amy's got right here, and we're going to bring it all the way up. And 1, 4, 3, 2, tricep. 2, 4, 3, 2, tricep. 3, 4, 3, 2, tricep. 4, 4, 3, 2, tricep. 5, 4, 3, 2, tricep to bottom. 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1, 8, 4, 3, 2, 1, 9, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10, 2 more, 4, 3, 2, 1, 11, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, rest. Cool. So that's kind of like your simultaneous bicep curl. Now, if you guys have more time at home and you want to spend more time focusing on an area, like I said before, we're going to demonstrate this a little bit on this next one. So I'm going to use this plate. If you guys don't have a plate like this at home, that's okay. You can use a book or anything that just gives you a little bit of elevation. I mentioned about linearity and direct lines to the floor. Now, the human body works best in direct lines because technically we're kind of a machine. And the more weird angles we bring to a movement, the more things have the propensity to get out of whack, especially if you don't have good proprioception or body awareness. So what I said before is, this might look straight to the ground, but really this is actually straight to the ground. And if you were to draw a line straight from the ceiling, you'll probably see right through my shoulder joint that this is more of a linear path than this is. So if I was going to actually do a curl, and in this case we're going to do a hammer curl, I want to elevate my one side so I'm not like having to hold myself goofy, but this actually makes my arm position a little bit more in line with that straight line. So what we're going to do is we're going to lock our arm in stone again. Elbow is back, connected to the body, and the shoulder is back and externally rotated. So when we're here, we're going to come up to this slightly past 90-degree position. My bicep is now touching my forearm. I get a good contraction here, and I'm going to lower slowly, and I'm going to allow my tricep to engage. So this is a little bit less of a focus on the long head and short head. The long head and short head is what makes up the meat of the biceps brachii for 2 heads. So we're now going to be focusing more on the brachialis and the brachioradialis, which are the muscles that interconnect up into here and go all the way out into your forearm. That's the purpose of a hammer curl. So I'm going to have Amy do these sets. We're going to do one set unilateral, which is doing one arm at a time. And we're going to do one set bilateral. And maybe you'll be able to see a little bit of the variance of what's happening with this versus this. So Amy can set herself up. She's going to put one foot up. All right, and she's locked in stone, head is straight, shoulders back, elbows tight, and we're up. 1, down, control, and up. 2, make sure the tricep engages at the bottom, and 3, good squeeze at the top, give me a little squeeze at the top, and 4, up, 5, good squeeze, we're coming right to about here, up, 6, halfway, 7, 8, good, 9, 2 more, all the way down, tricep to the bottom, up, 11, and 12. I'm gonna have Amy actually face the camera this time. She's gonna put her other foot up. Now face the camera. Face forward. So foot's up. Here we go. And we're gonna make sure that arm straight down. All right. And elbows tight, shoulders back, and up. Squeeze all the way down. Up. 2. Up. 3. 4. Nice control. 5. Up. 6. Good. 7. What's up? 8. 4 more. 9. 10. 11. And 12. All right. So that's one set. Now we're going to go into one set where it's bilateral, and you'll see a little bit of change in that dip and how that may feel a little bit different to you if you're going to try to follow along at home and do the exact same thing. One thing I do want to point out is that when you guys are struggling with these movements, again, especially with hammer curls, one of the big things I see all the time is shoulders are set back, elbows are locked, and when they're coming in here, those arms are coming in here, a lot of people start to bring those weights up here. Now if you notice, when that elbow comes along, I'm starting to get into my shoulder blades a little bit, and my scapula starts to move, and then I'm starting to take that load off the biceps, brachii, brachioradialis, and brachialis over here, and it's starting to go more into my shoulder. And this is almost like a resting position where there's no tension really on the bicep anymore. So we want to avoid that completely. We want to make sure everything's set back, locked, and wherever you come, whatever your range of motion is, that's what you got. So if your arm comes here, great. Some people have longer humerus and their arm comes up higher. That's fine as long as the elbow isn't gravitating away, taking the load further away from what we're trying to actually work. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Once again, if you have questions, feel free to ask right directly or leave a comment. So Amy's now going to do simultaneous. I personally like feet together so my arms can clear this path. Shoulders are back, externally rotated, elbows locked in stone. And we're up. 1, down, nice and controlled. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, weights are down. I'm going to give you guys about 15 to 30 seconds. We're going to get right back in. We're going to do the last set the way we started. We're going to do it unilateral, one side at a time. And then we're going to jump into some triceps actually. And we're going to give you a little bit of form cueing on 2 movements for triceps. We're going to do some skull crushers, a couple angles on those. And we're going to do some dips and work on some intention and things to think about when you're doing that. And then, you know, if you guys ever are back in here in the gym, some of the people that are members here and some people that are not and are following along, you guys ever plan to come in here, this is the way we kind of train and we execute, especially if you do one-on-one with us. You get a lot more of this type of cueing and a lot more of you know, focus and intention of what you're really supposed to be doing. So some people have left us some really nice reviews over time about, like, you know, even if you're a gym veteran, you know, and you come here, you really learn how to work out because we take some time to really put some focus into the things that you don't know and help you have slightly better training habits over time. So let's get into this last set. Amy's going to elevate her 1 foot. And once again, watch all the things that we've been talking about. Shoulders back, head is straight, elbows locked at the side. She's going to come right up. 1. Nice and controlled. Up. 2. Good squeeze at the top. You can even give yourself a little pause. 3. And down. Up. Good tension. 4. Up. Squeeze. 5. Press up the bottom. Up. 7. Good. Try to make every rep consistent. 8. 9. Good. 10. 2 more. 11. And 12. Other side. Switch arms. Yep, that's fine. And shoulders back, head is straight. You guys can make this into a mantra. Say it over and over again so you get the form. That's 1, 2. Give yourself a little squeeze at the top. 3, 4, 5, 6, looking good. 7, 8, good squeeze at the top. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Good. All right. So guys, we're going to move into some triceps. A couple more things. You know, if you're having some hard time, like really knowing where you're at, I can't stress this enough. Having a mirror is a great training tool so you can actually see what's going on, so your brain can start to recognize like, oh, I am moving my elbow. Or you can even use another tool, like the wall is a great tool to put your arm flat against that wall, put your back flat against that wall, and use that as a frame of reference, because if that elbow starts to move away from that wall, you're going to feel it right away. And you're going to know, like, hey, like I got to keep that back, you know. Also, if you don't have heavy dumbbells at home and you're doing some of these exercises at home, squeeze harder, concentrate more, lower the reps more slowly. You can even work partials, meaning that if you're getting to a certain number and you're starting to fail, it's okay to only work partial ranges of the rep, because as long as you don't deviate from the form, you're still training the muscle in whatever part of the range that you're working. So the muscle gets the full range of doing this, but if I'm starting to fail, as long as my form doesn't deviate, I'm still getting something useful out of that part of the rep range by doing some partial reps at the end for finishers. So hopefully that is some helpful information. We're going to move on to some lying skull crushers, and we're going to do 3 sets. Okay, so we're going to do 3 different angles. We do this a lot here in the gym. The reason we do this is actually to target different parts of the tricep. So we're going to get right into that. Amy's going to get some weights and we're going to get set up.
I'm going to go with 10s. I usually do 10s, but I usually don't have you hovering over me.
Sorry. So Amy's going to set up here. She's going to put herself down on the bench. And one of the major things I want you guys to focus on is what's going on here. I want some really good contact with your upper back on the bench. You can almost create a little bit of an arch and articulate your rib cage so it's up, okay? So we're going to start with her coming close to her hairline, more about here. And the most important part of this is that this part of the arm does not move, okay? This is locked in stone. The humerus does not move. I'm going to give her a little bit of a spot, and she's going to just come up to 10 reps. That's 1, up, 2, 3, nice and controlled, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to move right to the temple level. Now what we're doing when we do this is we're shortening the range of the tricep. So if your arm was all the way up here, it's fully elongated. Now we're bringing that arm down so it's a little bit shorter. So we're coming all the way down. Try to come past your head. Don't shortchange the rep. Let the muscle really stretch. 4, 5, here we go. 6, 7. Notice our upper arm is not moving. This is not shifting at all. All right, now we're going to move it down one more notch, and we'll come right about jawline, neckline, all the way down. Okay, we're really shortening up the distance now, because now she's not all the way fully elongated with that arm. She's much shorter here, so the tricep is getting worked in a different range. Plus she's building up a lot of fatigue, and it's really putting a lot of strain on the tricep. Come on. So, with these, another thing to think about is tension, okay? So when we're in any of these positions, really try to think about mentally engaging the tricep before you extend. You don't have to just sit there and swing the weight from the elbow with lack of intention. If the weights aren't heavy and you only have 5s or 8s or whatever you got at home, really try to put your mind into what you're doing and squeeze. Create hard contractions throughout each part of the movement. All right, so you can make something very hard by contracting and squeezing harder. We're going to do 2 more sets of these, and then we're going to get into 1 more tricep exercise today. It's a lot of information, so you guys can watch over this again and assimilate it. And once again, if you guys are interested in one-on-one training, like once we're kind of back to being fully operational after all this COVID stuff, please reach out to me or Amy. You know, David's still here, Jake is still here training, so we're all training if you guys are interested in getting more and more detailed information and helping you progress further along whatever your path is. Amy's going to get right back down to this next set. There we go. Want to keep that back, good contact, articulate the rib cage up, coming down past upper, right about there. This stays locked in stone. 1, 2, 3, nice control. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to move right down into this temple range, okay? Keep everything locked down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, not to swing. 5, 5 more, as you can. 6, 7, 8, 9, alright, we're going to move down one more level here. And we're just getting tired. No rest. Come on, let's go.
Rest.
Right down through here, right through the neckline, jawline area. Sorry. 3, 4, 5. You got 5 more. Let's see if you can do it. You guys want to reach your runs. Go. 6, 7, 8. Come on. 9. All right.
This sucks. So everybody knows.
All right, guys. So another thing to think about is another very important part of everything that we're doing here is thinking about the end ranges of where the muscles connect. Okay, so you've got your origin and your insertion. Okay, so you've got 2 end ranges. Those parts of the muscle are the weakest parts. So you want to make sure that you're training the weakest parts, and the only reason to be able to train, or only way to really be able to train the weakest parts of the muscle is to come into the full contractile and extended ranges of the muscle. That way you can ensure that those areas are taking the full load, and that's usually where you see people tend to cheat themselves the most. So that's when they start to swing or they can't lift the weight or whatever. Those are the areas where it's the most important for you to keep your form strict, because the more strength that you develop in the end ranges, the stronger the belly of the muscle will become, and then the muscle as a whole will become a much stronger muscle in general. And you'll have more muscle growth and you'll look better at the beach. So let's go. We're going to do our last set. Amy's dropping down 8. And then we got one more exercise for you guys tonight, and we're out of here. All right, here we go. We're going to come down up here. Elbows are locked. Notice that upper arm does not move, okay? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, getting a little tough. We're going to move it down to temple level now. Elbows are locked. Our upper arm is locked. Upper back is locked into the pad. A little bit of articulation here from the rib cage. And let's bring it down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, guys, we're going to do 10 more right here along the neckline, jawline area. All right, and weights are coming down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last 3. 8, 9, 10. So a little bit more jibber jabber. We're going to do one more exercise. So if you notice, I'm supporting Amy's elbows right behind the elbow joint. That's helping her to ensure that she's, one, not moving, and that shoulder's staying in position like we'd like it to from that upper arm. And also, I'm giving her something to brace into. Okay, so the reason I'm keeping my hands there is that so she can drive tension into the tricep the way that she wants to, because she has something to back pressure into. And this is like a big concept that should proliferate throughout all of your training. The more that you can brace into something and that you can minimize any other part of your body moving and you can truly focus on isolating what you're trying to isolate, the more tension you can drive into something. So if someone were running at me and I put my hands out like this and I just do this, chances are if there's a strong person running fast, they're just going to barrel me over. But if I had a wall behind me and I'm pushing like this, they're just going to run into my arms. My arms will probably give way if they're a huge guy, but they're not going to take me any further back than the wall is. So the wall is my brace. So if I'm like this, chances are they're not going to knock me over at all because I've got the wall behind me. The same thing is true of the weight. You don't want to be swinging. You want everything to be braced. Your curls, once again, her tricep, I'm bracing the elbow so I can get that full extension and she has something to really pressure herself into and she can really focus on what she's trying to focus on. So we're going to do one more movement. We're going to do some dips. You guys can probably do these at home on your couch or if you have some chairs or a bench or whatever you've got. We're going to turn this sideways because I want you to be able to see her arm. And if you want to make this more challenging, you can put your feet up on another bench. We're going to show different variations of progression. I'm actually going to do that right now real quick, and then Amy's going to start with her sets. So if these are too hard for you, you can start with your feet close. As you start to get better, you can start to move your feet all the way out until you're in this position. Once you're here, then you can start to elevate your feet onto something, and once you're there, you can start to put load on top of your quads and start to get really down into this dipping position. Now, one thing that's very important is you want to make sure that you're coming into a 90-degree angle. So if you guys have shoulder problems or this gives you some discomfort, we can try a different exercise. But from here, once again, I talked about the tension. I want you to think about contracting your triceps. I don't know if you can see that on film. But squeeze your triceps and then drive up. I don't want you to just think like aimlessly pushing yourself up and down while your triceps are getting some work. It's not quite the same thing as actually putting that mental intention and contracting the tricep and then driving through your hand. So Amy's going to get down here. We're going to do a set of 10 of these. You're going to like straight or you want your feet up? All right, Amy's going to put her feet straight. All right, so we're going to come all the way down so that that arm is creating pretty much a 90-degree angle. And contract and squeeze up. That's 1, 2, 3. Notice she's got a nice 90-degree here. 6, 7, 8, 9, squeeze, 10. Good. Rest. We're going to rest for about 20 seconds. We're going to do another set. We're going to do 3 of these for today, and we're going to wrap it up tonight. So, like once again, I said I've given you guys a lot of information. Hopefully some of that's sunk in. You might have to watch this again to get all of it. And then, again, if you have questions, comments, feel free to reach out, comment, write us directly, whatever makes you happy. And here we go, set number 2. You want the other bench? Here we go. She's going to do the second set. Here we go. Feet are going up on the bench. All right, and all the way down 90 degrees with the arms. And 1. Good squeeze. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. All right, we got one more set coming. We're going to give her about another 20 seconds of rest. So if you notice, she's coming to that full range of motion. Arm is bending all the way up to 90 degrees. I'm giving her a little bit of stimulus on her triceps so I can reminding her brain, contract the arm, then drive up through it. Don't just aimlessly push yourself up and down. Really put intention and focus into what you're doing for every rep. All right, guys, here we go. This is going to be our last set for the day. All right, and all the way down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to give you a little something extra on this one, okay? Last set. 7, 8, 9. All right, she just did 10. I'm going to pull this bench away. Now she's gonna go feet straight. This is like a mechanical drop set, so we're just going, making it easier as she goes. Let's go, keep going. We're gonna try to get 8 to 10, whatever she can get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Should we get 2 more? 7, 1 more. 8. Now bring the feet into 90 degrees right here. Now she's going to finish out. We're going to get it out another 10. Let's go. 8 to 10. And right in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Great. So we've done some drop sets on some of these videos. People that have come to our classes, we've done plenty of drop sets in here. Sorry if you can't hear me, the heat just kicked on. But basically what I did was I made a mechanical drop set. So a mechanical drop set is basically taking a form where she was in a harder stage of the movement, with the feet elevated. As that got more and more difficult, I took the harder stage away. I put her feet on the ground, making the load easier. She did some more reps, and then we extended the set even more by making the load even easier by shortening the lever, and then she did more reps there to the finish. Now you can take that as far or as hard as you want. You can do it with weights on your legs. People can pull plates off your legs. Then you can have your feet up, you can put them down, you can shorten the legs, etc., 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 and you can take it out until your arms explode. So that's basically it for today, guys. I appreciate you guys following along and watching. I think this is 19.6.
Yeah,
so biceps and triceps again. This is more informative. So once again, you guys have questions, feel free to ask, like, share, subscribe. And if you guys have questions about personal training, or even maybe going forward, we might do some one-on-one Zoom sessions or FaceTime sessions, or we might start working some of that out too. We're in the development stages of all that stuff as this COVID thing kind of proliferates. So thanks again for watching. Adam Olson from Atomolsonfitness. Amy back.
Thank
Amy back.
you.
Ed. Thank you. We hope to see you guys again here soon. Stay tuned. Stay strong.
Stay well.